Hi. So today I wanted to sit down, craft a little bit, make a little bit of magic, make beautiful earrings, and talk a little bit about the divine feminine, the goddess, and how to reclaim that power, that energy back into our lives. I'm gonna wear these as a symbol, as a tribute to the divine feminine and nature and the beauty of our world, of nature, of flowers, of crystals. And I'm gonna charge the stones. I'm gonna charge these and use these as talismans of protection, beauty, and peace. And as a reminder of the power of the goddess within myself, within my being, within my own body, within my spirit, within my soul. So, today I wanted to talk about reclaiming divine feminine power in ourselves and in society. I think it's time we unlearn the roles that have defined, belittled, and dehumanized women for thousands of years. So, I was raised in a conservative Christian household. I was forced to go to church every Sunday. My parents were Christian fundamentalists and worshipped the white male, jealous, angry sky god. And growing up, I was taught if I wasn't a good little girl, I would burn in hell, and that sexuality was bad, and so on. And you had to listen to your parents, and if you were disobedient, something bad would happen to you. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Like the things that we have to be submitted to by our parents, which it's not their fault. Like they've also been brainwashed, and nobody's perfect. Here's a quote from the Old Testament. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. So, like, that sounds really bad. Like, I don't know who would want to worship a jealous, fire consuming God. Like, that sounds horrible. In reality, the divine goddess of my universe doesn't demand worship or threaten anyone to an eternal lake of fire. Divine spirit is not male or female, but androgynous and is female but also with a male polarity as part of her. She's basically the baddest, fiercest, most beautiful, benevolent. She is love. She is perfect and balanced. For hundreds of thousands of years, humanity was in reverence to the earth, to the goddess. Time was lunar, and women were sacred. Like their bodies were sacred, their flows were sacred. They were seen as like mystical because their bleeding was in cycle with the moon. They were seen as these like magical beings. They were leaders, inventors, life bearers. They held the power throughout the land. They held knowledge. They they were our first scientists, our first agriculturists, farmers. Like they developed the seed. Defilement of the female goddess began when the male power-hungry left-brain thinking took control of societies. War and genocide became a normal part of governance. The goddess was villainized as male gods were put in her place as a show of dominance and a switch to a more disconnected from source, left, logical brain way of thinking. The rise of government and male oppression brought about the change in religious structures, where reverence to the goddess switched to a male dominated pantheon of gods that ruled the skies and were merciless and hungry for blood. Also, that the powers that be could justify their wars, their territory and kingdom expansions, and the rise of government and male oppression brought about the change in religious structures, where the reverence to the goddess switched to a male-dominated pantheon of gods that ruled the skies and were merciless and hungry for blood. Also, that the powers that be could justify their wars and territory and kingdom expansions, and then made the people of that land worship their male gods in place and taking the first goddess creation stories and usurping them as male god stories. The dehumanization of women in our modern societies is brought about because humanity is being manipulated by the patriarchal systems in order to disconnect us from our right part of the brain. a disconnection to our souls, to our creativity, our connection to spirit, and our faith. The female is inherently more connected with her right brain hemisphere. This is the reason why the powers that be, the patriarchal matrix, hates women. They want humanity to be severed from the divine, and women are a direct link to this beautiful healing energy within our womb, within our hearts. Women are the priestesses of old and the knowledge bearers. Also, if a man is disconnected from their women and their right brain, they are disconnected from source. And if women are disconnected from their right brain, they are also disconnected from goddess too. So humanity is made to believe that they need a middleman. Insert religion, government, and therefore control, and a system that runs on the blood and toil of a slave humanity. And so, because spirit, goddess, divine creatrix doesn't operate on these limited space-time systems of control that rule the earth, we must remember that happiness, abundance, joy comes from the divine essence within ourselves, and that divine essence is what animates all of the cosmos. So we must remember that all this is coming from the divine creatrix. Like, she's in us. If she flows through us, she flows in our thoughts. This is what creates our happiness and our joy and our reality. It's not in governments, it's not in religions, it's not in systems of oppression that need us locked in submission, because none of these systems could operate without our submission. Christianity is a religion of women haters and emasculated men that are down low homosexuals most of the time, and have a severe mother wound and an unconscious hatred of themselves also. Humanity, men and women, can change and learn to love themselves. I'm still learning to value myself, my time, my energy, my love, my work. It's not about hating men, it's about seeing and understanding the condition of the collective and the systems of control and propaganda that are brainwashing society. Women were once the leaders and pioneers of their societies and tribes. As women, we raise our children, and nature, mammals too, raise the next generations. And if there's to be a change in the world, humanity needs to reparent their inner selves with a great amount of love from our eternal divine cosmic mother, the life giver of all of creation. Like, we must return back to ourselves with this love of the creative mother, of the cosmic mother, and return to ourselves with her love. Crafting has always been a very divine feminine art for thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, and so is wearing adornments and talismans. I create my jewelry as feminine portrayals of divine love. They are created by a woman who loves making these beautiful pieces as a symbol of divine cosmic power and magic. These are asymmetrical, and there's a selenite and peak chalcedony stones. Very beautiful, feminine. If you like these pieces, on my website and on my Etsy, and the link is in the bio. Also, you can add essential oils to them. For me, it's lavender or like a floral one that I really like. It smells like perfume. It smells like flowers.